The time right now is 8:30, and I'm pleased to say that Howard Elias is here in the studio this week. Welcome back.
Thank you. I'm alive.
Good.
You know, if you have
to hear it.
a little bit of PSA to everybody out there, if you haven't had the flu yet, and you haven't had the flu shot, get it, because you don't want to go through what I've gone through.
Okay.
That's it. No, it was awful. It was, and I'm still a little bit, I'm not 100%, but anyhow.
Well, you're here.
I'm
You're
here.
sounding fine. You're looking fine.
Yeah, thank you.
You're on the mend.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so good to hear. Okay, 2 movies this week.
Yeah.
Want to start with Ferdinand?
Yeah, to celebrate the Year of the Dog, we're going to talk about a bull and a cat.
You don't want to leave them out.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, so 2 films open, well, more than 2 films are opening this week, but I'm going to talk about 2. One of them is Ferdinand, an animated film about that lovable flower-smelling bull. Did you ever read the book? It must be a very short book, I would think.
No,
I never read it either. 1936 originally published.
Ah,
and
I think I might have had a stuffed toy.
Could be.
Animal.
Could be. And then Disney made a movie, an animated film, I think in 1938. It's about a 7-minute long movie. So I think the story is very short.
Mm-hmm. So how did they pad it out?
Well, yeah, that's...
How long is this version?
This is about a 90-minute movie, and
wow.
it is severely padded out. There's some new characters and some new story angles, and they've changed the message, because the original story, it is rumored, I don't know that it was ever confirmed, that it was in response to General Franco, and it was a pacifist sort of anti-Franco message, because Spanish bull, that sort of thing. And so now that whole pacifist message has been thrown out the window, and it's now the new message is be true to yourself, and stand up to bullies, and and pun intended, bully, right? And, that is sort of mentioned in the story. Now, Ferdinand, this version of Ferdinand is voiced by John Cena, the former, is he a former or is he a current wrestler? And he might still be wrestling with the World WWE or something like that. But he's become a good actor, and he's been in a few comedies. He likes poking fun at himself, and more power to him. So he plays Ferdinand the Bull, which I suppose is like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink, to get a bull of an actor to play a bull of a character. And, of course, kids won't click on that one, but obviously adults will. And Kate McKinnon, who's Saturday Night Live cast member and has been in the female version of Ghostbusters. She plays Lupe, Ferdinand's crazy as a goat, comfort goat, and mentor. Now, in this version of Ferdinand, he still loves to sit under the cork tree and sniff the flowers. But as I said, he's also subject to a fair bit of bullying, as some of the other bulls, I suppose maybe even all of them, they see their mission in life as making it to the bull ring. And but that's not what Ferdinand sees for himself. Now, in this version, unlike, because I did see the Disney version, in this version, if they don't get selected for the big fight, they get trucked off to the neighboring chop shop, which is a 21st century euphemism for abattoir. Mm-hmm. I guess they didn't have abattoirs back in 1938 because that wasn't mentioned in the original story. Also in this version, Ferdinand escapes from the farm at a young age and becomes the pet of a little girl whose father just happens to grow flowers for a living. But like in the original story, it's a bee sting to the behind that puts his future on a different course. Now, unlike that other recent animated film, Coco, which I did love, Ferdinand has all the subtlety of a bull in a china shop, pun intended. This is not a Pixar movie. It's made by the same people. It's made by Blue Sky, the same people who brought us Ice Age and the Rio films. I like the first Ice Age film. I don't think I really care for the second. I don't think I saw the third. And is there a fourth? I don't even know. And the Rio films, they didn't do it for me either. This is squarely meant for kids, and by kids I mean really young kids, really young. I would think if you're going to bring your 8 or 9-year-old to this film...
Will they enjoy it?
What, the 8 or 9-year-old?
Yeah.
No, I think they're going to be bored.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is really not a great film for. It's certainly not a good film for adults.
All right. So, what ages do you suggest it for?
Four.
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 4-year.
4-year-olds. There was actually a baby in my audience crying, and I thought, lucky kid. So I think the big problem with this film is that the writers, and there were 6 writers on this film because they had to pad out what is essentially a 10-minute story into a 90-minute film. The writers added in far too many characters. And so
the list is enormous.
Yeah,
look at it.
Yeah, and what happens is you can't possibly deal with that many characters well. And what happens when the plot goes in a certain direction, all the other characters get dangled in a vacuum and nothing happens to them. And a prime example of that is once Ferdinand leaves Nina, the little girl, nothing happens to her. Now, you think, oh, they have a very nice friendship, and Nina's got an English sheepdog. Now, what an English sheepdog is doing in Spain, I have no idea, but let's just leave that one for a second. And the sheepdog is supposed to be Ferdinand's best friend. Ferdinand goes off. We never see Nina and the sheepdog until the very end. And I think what they should have done is had a subplot of Nina and the sheepdog trying to find Ferdinand. But they just sort of disappear, never to be seen, as I said, until the end. So I didn't like that at all. And I think the Bull Farm, too, it has its share of quirky but lovable characters. Of course, it's got to be an animated film. You have to have quirky and lovable. But there are just far too many of them. And some of them are good. They have these uber snobby German show horses. Excuse me. And there's some funny scenes with them, because they do sort of a dance off between the bulls, and it has to have the obligatory song, which is completely unmemorable. I think it's a Nick Jonas song. I don't know who sang it, but some of that is a little bit funny. But it's like, okay, that lasted about 3 minutes, and that was it. So my feeling with this film is, there's a reason why the saying goes, less is more. And there was just too much in here. And maybe 4-year-old kids who suffer from ADHD, this is a perfect film for them. I don't know. But for us adults, it's really not a great film. There was a couple laughs, but not a great film. So, if you're, as I said, if you're a 4-year-old, or if you're a parent of a 4-year-old and want to amuse your child for a few hours over the Chinese New Year holiday, take the kid to see this film. Or maybe you're a 30-year-old single female office worker who has a collection of Hello Kitty figurines tacked across your cubicle divider. Maybe this is a film for you. But for the rest of us, skip it. Next. Okay. Now, the other film that it actually opened the other day, we got it 3 days before most of the rest of the world. I think it opened in Ireland and in the UK and in Taiwan and in Hong Kong the other day, and everybody else gets it tomorrow, is Black Panther, which is the hugely hyped and highly anticipated film, the next installment in the Marvel Universe. This is a mostly black it's mostly black production, I would say, or African-American or black British production. It's directed by Ryan Coogler, who did Fruitvale Station and Creed, and he's going to be doing Creed 2, because, of course, one Creed is never enough. You have to have 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And as you know, Fruitvale Station and Creed starred Michael B. Jordan, and this film also stars Michael B. Jordan, but he plays the bad guy this time, not the good guy. Now, this film, Black Panther, features, as I said, a who's who of African-American and black British actors, starring Chadwick Boseman in the title role. Do you know who Chadwick Boseman is? He played Jackie Robinson. He's been in a few small films, but good performances in small films. So you may not have seen him, but or maybe you have and you just didn't realize. He's not really, until now, he hasn't been a household name generally, but now everybody's going to know him. Michael B. Jordan, as I said, who's got an amazing what I call a dread cut. So he's got dreadlocks, but his hair is sculptured. So, if I had hair, I wish I could do it, but I don't have, I don't have enough hair, and I don't have enough either. Yeah. Oscar winner Lupita Nyong'o A woman by the name of Danai Gurira. So if you've seen The Walking Dead on TV, which I haven't, she's in The Walking Dead.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
Do you watch it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you
Well,
might.
no, I gave up on it
Oh,
after quite a few years. I
oh,
watched it for a few years, but the last season or two I didn't.
oh. I
Yeah,
don't. Yeah.
it got way too violent.
Oh, okay.
Way too violent.
Do you know who she is though, Danai Gurira?
If I'm imagining the correct person,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know. Daniel Kaluuya, who was in Get Out, which I didn't review, but I've seen the film. Have you seen the film Get Out? It's an amazing film. It's wonderful. It's a horror social comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Just a fantastic film. So Daniel Kaluuya stars in that. He's in this film. Emmy winner Sterling K. Brown from TV's This Is Us. You know that show everybody's talking about in America, This Is Us. Which I've never seen.
No, I haven't done that.
Yeah.
I've been told, I should watch it.
Yeah, I call it today's, what was that show, 30-something? It's sort of like today's 30-something.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oscar winner Forrest Whitaker and Angela Bassett, who I don't know how she's never won a big award. I think she's such a wonderful actress. But yeah. So she plays Black Panther's mother. So for people who follow the Marvel Universe, this is the character's origin story in preparation for his expanded role in the upcoming Avengers Infinity War, which I think is coming in May or June or July. I'm not sure when it's coming, but everybody is in it apparently. Now, I don't want to reveal too much here, but I'll tell you just a teeny bit of what the story is about. The film opens with a little bit of history. Apparently, eons ago, a meteor hit the Central African country of Wakanda. And please tell Donald Trump there's no such country as Wakanda, because he might think there is. And when the meteor hit, it deposited a vibration-absorbing mineral called vibranium there. Now, the king at the time, he realized that the outside world would want to exploit his country for this valuable resource, so he made the decision to keep the mineral's existence a secret. So even today, the world believes Wakanda is a poor third world country, but it's anything but. Buried deep inside a mountain, the real Wakanda is a technological powerhouse with inventions and innovations that make Tony Stark's gadgets and gizmos look like Tinker Toys. Which is and it's done very, very well. Now, after T'Challa, who's Boseman's character, after T'Challa's father, King T'Chaka, gets killed, and that's no spoiler because it happened in Captain America Civil War, T'Challa ascends to the throne, but not before beating off a challenger from one of the 5 tribes of Wakanda. But his early days as king are anything but dull, as a South American black marketeer named Ulysses Clow, played by a wonderful Andy Serkis. It's nice to see Andy Serkis not covered in motion capture little balls and playing animals, because he's played Caesar in the Planet of the Apes films, and of course Gollum, and he usually plays characters that we don't see him. Now we actually see him, and he really does a wonderful job. So Ulysses steals an ancient artifact that he knows is made of vibranium. Now, with the help of CIA agent Everett Ross, played by Martin Freeman, another Lord of the Rings alumnus, T'Challa captures Clow, only to lose him to Eric Killmonger. What a wonderful name, Eric Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan, who has a much bigger agenda than just taking a piece of alien metal. So this puts T'Challa on a collision course with Killmonger that could have immediate consequences, not only for the future of Wakanda, but for the whole world. That's all I'm going to say about the story. Now, there is a lot that's good about Black Panther, and only a few things that aren't so good. It was getting like when it had a premiere in Los Angeles a few weeks ago, and the critics who saw it were under embargo. So a couple days ago, all the reviews started being released, and of course, it zoomed to 100% on the tomato meter. And then somebody gave it a bad review, and of course, people were screaming racism and all this sort of stuff. But now there's a few bad reviews, so I'm going to give it a good review with a little bit of tempering. Okay, because that's me. Now, for the good, there are more than a few great performances here, starting with Boseman and Jordan, but certainly not ending with them. The women in this film are fabulous. Wakandan women rock and rule. Now, Gurira, the woman who's in the Walking Dead, she is fierce as General Okoye, the head of the Dora Milaje. The Dora Milaje is the Wakandan all-female army. You don't want to mess with them. She is wonderful. Angela Bassett, who, as I said, she should deserve it. She should get some sort of award for a lifetime of work because she's a wonderful actress. She's resplendent as Ramonda, the Queen Mother. Nyong'o she's so elegant, but she's got attitude as Nakia, T'Challa's ex-girlfriend and a Wakandan spy. But it's Letitia Wright, who I've never heard of. She steals the film from all of them as Shuri, T'Challa's ultra-cool 16-year-old sister. Now, Shuri is somebody who could teach James Bond's Q a thing or two about technology. And she will most certainly be held up as a model for young girls everywhere to study STEM subjects at school, and rightly so. You know, when Wonder Woman was released last May, you know, it was a wonderful movie to show young women, to show girls and young women what's possible. You know, I think she's taken over the mantle from Wonder Woman. I mean, she's really wonderful. And I understand she'll be in the upcoming Avengers Infinity War film. If the writers of that film haven't rewritten their scenes, her scene with Tony, or her scenes, I don't know what the film's about, but I'm sure she's going to have scenes with Tony Stark. If they haven't rewritten them yet, they better get cracking, because she deserves a much bigger role. I hope she gets a good role in the upcoming Infinity War film, because she's wonderful. It's a wonderful character, and she does a wonderful job. Now, that's the good. Also good are the costumes, which have one foot implanted in traditional Africa, but they're also very futuristic. And I don't want to reveal too much. I don't want to reveal anything about that, but I just want to say that the Wakandan fabric weavers have taken multifunctionality to a whole new level. There's things their costumes do that you just go, whoa, really well done, really, really thoughtful.
That's
and
coming, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been on the runway, things like that, and yeah.
Yeah, well, we're thinking about how to build in communication devices into our clothing. This takes it to a whole new level, right? Now, where the film loses points is with pacing. Like most Marvel films, in my opinion, this film's about 30 minutes too long. It's 2 hours and just short of 2 hours and 15 minutes. I think they easily could have cut 20, 30 minutes out of this film. I don't know why they have to think, you know, this is another situation of less is more. I don't know why these Marvel directors think they have to throw so much in. Cut it out. Leave the audience wanting more. I don't know. But anyhow, that's me. A couple of scenes drag. And I think they should have been left on the cutting room floor altogether. The film also spends a little bit too much time on T'Challa's support group, the women. Now, granted, they're all wonderful, but this is a film about Black Panther, and it should be a film about Black Panther, and it's less about him and more about the people around him. So they should have called it Black Panther's Friends or something like that, or his posse or whatever. I don't know. That's not racist. I'm sorry. And, you know, maybe there isn't that much to say about Black Panther. And if that's true, then he's got to be the least conflicted Marvel superhero around. I mean, this guy's a very normal, well-adjusted guy, you know. So who knows? I don't know. On the other hand, the car chase scene, which you may have seen in the trailer between Black Panther and Clow, is pure comic book awesomeness. It was done really, really well. And I could have watched a few more minutes of that. I think another downer was that the director and Coogler and the fellow screenwriter Joe Robert Cole, they didn't quite stick to the Marvel handbook. There's a little bit of James Bond in there. There's a little bit of Star Wars. Like my friend said to me as we were watching it the other night, he said, "This place looks like such and such in Star Wars." And I said, "Yeah, I thought the exact same thing." So and there's even a thing that's very sort of reminiscent of Transformers. So I thought, you know what, stick to the Marvel universe. Don't go into other universes. But all in all, it's a solidly fun film. It's a oftentimes very funny film as well. There's some very good lines. It's a great way to spend a couple hours, certainly better than Ferdinand. The boys and girls at DC and Warner Brothers are probably kicking themselves all over again, wondering why they keep getting their franchise wrong, but this one keeps going right. Finally, I saw it in IMAX 3D. Do not waste your money on IMAX 3D. Certainly IMAX, but not 3D. It just cuts out far too much light. So see it in 2D or IMAX 2D, but do see it because it's a great film. It's all in all a very good film. So that's that's what my recommendation is for the new year. Have a wonderful year of the ARF, ARF, ARF. And we'll see you in next week.
Yes, Howard Elias. Thank you so much.
Thanks.